closed.
You don't look the sort who can afford to turn down legitimate work.
What do you want?
How about we start with a light?
The current review contains spoilers about the release of BioShock Infinite and Burial at Sea. It's been a while now since BioShock Infinite was released, and here we are with our first DLC, which is only one of a two-part story. The player is in control of Booker DeWitt, which is, in this universe, is a private investigator. Just like his campaign self, he has acquired a large gambling debt and lost a girl because of it. Instead of two people from two different universes telling Booker to bring us the girl and wipe away the debt, we have Elizabeth fulfilling this role. The game immediately starts off as a slow pace with Elizabeth telling Booker to help find a missing girl named Sally, and she offers to wipe away his gambling debt. Once after the dialogue, the player steps out of Booker's office to see a healthy, bright Rapture before things went to hell. The first task, the players are assigned to find a mask to attend Sanders Cohen's private event. Now let me say that the use of Sanders Cohen was highly irrelevant, and nowhere in the first BioShock he was indicated as a person that took in orphan little girls and was selling them to the highest bidder. The fact is that if a girl was ever lost in Rapture, she was taken to Fontaine's home for orphan children. And once from there, she was taken to a secret lab where she was turned into a little sister. And then she was bred to believe that Big Daddy were their only friends and that anyone else was evil and tried to harm you. Which is true when you look at how fucked up Rapture is. But Burial C ignores that and says that little sisters were trained in public and wore masks to hide their faces so people wouldn't see how dreaded their face looked from becoming atom factories. But the truth is, before Rapture's fall, little sisters were seen as dirty little girls running around drinking atoms so that Rapture could continue to live. I don't know why Irrational chose to put the scene in the game and make it look like the whole entire gruesome process wasn't real. But my guess is they wanted to continue the bright aesthetic Rapture before it became a giant graveyard. Now back to the task at hand, the mask. The player must go to 3 shops in order to look for the mask. The first store is a jewelry store. And the way Booker proceeds to look for the mask in every store is that he tells the shopkeeper that Elizabeth is the one you want to talk to. The reason why I chose the jewelry store out of the 3, because I wanted to talk about the animation that Elizabeth performs once the player leaves the back of the store after discovering there's no mask in his store. Elizabeth tells the shopkeeper that the jewels are fake and stolen, which leads him to get angry and forcibly grabbing her hand, which in end result her kicking him in the balls. Now, I asked myself, where have I seen this before? Then I remembered during the main campaign, when Booker was asking for tickets, one of the attackers grabbed her at the same way, and which ended in her getting him kicked in the balls. Now, I know the reason Irrational thought that this would be funny for those who remember this animation from the campaign, but to me at this point, I thought it wasn't very funny at all. It really felt like it was lazy for them to use an old animation to sell the argument. The way in which I wouldn't have done it is set up a choice for the players to intervene. One choice would be that you have Booker tell Elizabeth to back off and not talk so badly about the shop owner's shop. The other choice would be Booker tells the shop owner to stop harassing her, which then leads into an altercation between those two. To me, in this situation, I felt they shouldn't have brought the character choice system back, so from there it couldn't have had a particular outcome. Now we're going to talk about the gameplay mechanics. Infinite is a first-person shooter, and the basic mechanics of a first-person shooter is to turn the camera and shoot projectiles. And when this is applied to the DLC, let's just say if you thought it was hard killing enemies in the story mode, then you'd be greatly annoyed in Burial at Sea. I felt that Irrational turned up the bullet sponge on enemies to where I was wasting all my clips trying to take out one enemy. And how insane some of the damage ratios were. I found myself getting one-shotted a lot by enemies with the hand cannon or shotguns from a very long distance. Yes, they were pulling Remingtons from Black Ops 2. The ammo cap is very low, so you'll be looking for ammo or finding the nearest vending machine to buy some more. 2 of the only good sides to this DLC is they're reintroducing you holding a arsenal of weapons, like you could in the previous BioShock games. But the things that counter it is that you'll never see a hint telling you about this feature. So for the majority of the DLC, I was running around with only 2 weapons. Another thing I find wrong with the DLC is after being shot by Cohen, being sent to Fontaine's home appliances. When I heard that Ryan sunk into the bottom of the ocean, I remember a recording from BioShock 1. It was from Ryan's right-hand man. He said to keep all Fontaine's businesses open instead of shutting them down to do business with his former investors and make a profit.
Mr. Ryan, I believe in Rapture, but that doesn't mean we always win. Fontaine Futuristics is the biggest thing going in Rapture, so let me be plain. When we arrest that Torag Fontaine for his thieving and smuggling, we must make it clear that we won't touch his business interests. We sit on the council because these poor sods trust us, not because God gave us a chair.
But why do we have one of the businesses at the bottom of the ocean, you ask? Well, Rational was being lazy as hell since Rapture hasn't turned into a battering war zone yet, and we need an area for the player to fight, which then leads into a BS of a level. I really begin to question their creative mindset right now, because what I've seen so far is a bunch of laziness from Irrational. The second only good thing from this DLC is the presentation of Rapture during the early parts of the game. Sometimes it felt like a little hint of Columbia's essence was still there, but all honesty, the reason why I think episode 1 was done so badly, because they're setting it up for Elizabeth in episode 2. Kevin Levine was always constantly talking about Elizabeth's role in this DLC and how the player will play as her. So far, the DLC honestly looks bad. Hopefully episode 2 will clean up the mess. Overall, from what I'm seeing so far from Burial at Sea, is not showing much promise, but like I said before, hopefully in episode 2 it can clean up some of this uncertainty that's been going on with it. Kevin Levine, I think, has a long way to go when it comes to putting stories together, because that's what I'm seeing so far from Infinite and into Burial at Sea. He needs some work with his storytelling and putting together good mechanics, and also making sure that the game isn't too hard and making us rage quit half the time. I hope you enjoyed this review. More videos are coming on the way, guys. See ya.